Thanks to the support as a channel member, Stephen Boyd II. Good news, bad news. The good news, I found a 5-star potential youth player who was knocking around in our reserve team, having been out on loan, and he looks really, really good. Massive potential, huge value, all good stuff. Bad news is he's a winger, so I've completely changed the tactic to fit him in the team, and it might not be working. We have another relegation 6-pointer today. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that relegation 6-pointer away against Rotherham, who are currently 4 points below us in the league, and we're also at home against Cardiff in a match we'll probably lose. We might well lose both of them because we haven't been in the best of form since the last episode. Just the one positive result against Cambridge, who we beat 4-1. Otherwise, it has been, some decent performance. Everton are top of the league and we drew 0-0 away against Everton. That was a good performance, but we're back to struggling for goals again. And as you can see, there's been some experimentation with the system that we're using because of this guy, Bunyarit Suwanrat, who's a 19-year-old England under-20 international, right midfielder, right winger, with 5 stars of potential. He was out on loan at Bolton for the first half of the season, which is why I didn't notice him when I first arrived. He returned in January. I'll level with you. Didn't notice when he first came back. He just arrived back in the youth team and thought nothing of it. But then it was, I forget if it was me checking the dev center or getting one of those messages in the inbox. One of those basically alerted me to the fact that he existed. You can tell when I found out he existed because that's when I immediately changed the formation to try and fit him in. And to be fair, we hadn't been in the best of form with the diamond running into it either. It's not completely the fault of experimentation. When we changed the system, we'd only won 1 in 6 playing the diamond that had kind of stopped working as well. We switched to a 4-2-3-1 and thumped Cambridge, but then got absolutely battered by Leeds. So for the last 3 matches, I've gone to the version of the 4-2-3-1 that the game tries to force on you this year with the 2 DMs, which certainly looks more solid defensively. But as you can see, since we've been employing 2 defensive midfielders, we've only actually scored 1 goal. Although, to be fair, we've only conceded 2 goals and we've played against 2 very strong teams in Everton and West Brom. So the jury is out at the moment if this works or not. We're going to stick with a 4-2-3-1 with the 2 DMs today for the Rotherham game. If we lose against Rotherham, I guess we go back to the version that beat Cambridge, which is a little bit less secure defensively, but at least, as you can see, we scored goals playing that way. We just need to make sure we don't mess around too much and end up accidentally getting relegated. We are 4 points clear of Rotherham, but obviously if we lose to them, we are in a bit of a pickle because they're only 1 point behind us then, although we'll still have a better goal difference. The ideal scenario is we go there, we beat them, we open up a 7-point gap over the relegation zone, and we can relax a bit for the rest of the season then. 8 games remaining, 7 points clear. Probably not going to get relegated in that situation, and we can continue to experiment to try and get Suwanrat in the team. At the moment, he's not playing very well. 5 games, 6.68. To be fair, he's never played very well anywhere. But he's English, he's ours, he's homegrown at club, and he's got massive potential. So we've got to play him because he's arguably the prize asset at the football club. Although I guess the likes of Danny Hudson would probably disagree and suggest that he might well be the prize asset, who's a year younger, already better, and is the one who's been sacrificed from the team to make room for Suwanrat. There's nothing quite like a proper homegrown player, even if it's compared to one I found myself. I feel like there's going to be some discussion in the comment section about that. In fact, what I'm going to do today, because we have been playing Ben Woodburn on the left wing, but he's picked up a knock. It looks like past Kev had Owen Beck in on the left-hand side, which seems bonkers when Hudson can just go out there and play as an inverted winger on the left-hand side. So we will put Hudson in there so we can actually get Hudson, Ida and Suwanrat all in the same team, which on paper looks very good. The other thing we've done as part of switching to the new shape is we've moved away from the vertical tiki-taka towards a control possession system. The main reason being, it was the one that had the thumbs up next to it that wasn't counter-attacking or park the bus. So the game thinks this suits my players better. I've never actually done a 4-2-3-1 vertical tiki-taka. It's something we can experiment with at some point, but we are still very much at the experimentation stage. And hopefully we start to move beyond that today with a victory over Rotherham. That's the plan. We've got Nguisa in goal, a back for a Wilson as Brand, Story, O'Brien and Fredericks, McCann and Shaw as the two defensive midfielders, and then Hudson, O'Neill and Swanrat as the three supporting Ida up front. Ida's now on 14 goals for the season, by the way. So despite the fact that we are struggling a little bit for form recently, and we've kind of stopped scoring goals again, when you bear in mind I've been in control for maybe 20 matches, probably not even 20 matches. And I think he'd only scored 2 goals this season when I arrived. He has been scoring at more than a goal every other game since I've been at the club. And he's not even started every game during that period either, because it took him 3 or 4 games to force himself into the team. So Adam Ida is a bit of a goal machine, especially in a relegation-threatened team that is struggling to create chances and actually play well. So Ida, definitely very good. Another one who'd probably have a claim for calling himself the club's prized asset. We've got a lot of them. We've got a lot of good players here. I am happy with this squad. I'm not yet happy with the team, and I think we probably need another transfer window to move on a few more of the old ones, the likes of Fredericks, who is going to get an assist here, isn't he? Just as I'm saying, I want rid of him. But we want rid of a few more of these older guys, getting a few more of the youngsters along the likes of Hudson, who, of course, is the find of the save so far. And we can start to put together a team a little bit more in my image. Ida nods the ball down to Fredericks, and there is Ryan Fredericks for getting an assist. He's going to score his first ever goal for Preston. As it says in the commentary at the bottom, it's a 20-yard blockbuster, and it's a lovely goal from Fredericks. Ida doing very well to play as the big lone target man, nodding the ball down to Fredericks. He picks up the assist, and it's a lovely goal. Little bit of Premier League quality for you there, boys and girls. Lovely to see. It's Rotherham 1, Rotherham 0, Preston 1. Get the score the right way round, man. And that is huge. Now, the problem we have, and it's an ongoing problem throughout the entire season so far, is we go a goal up, and then that happens. And it's an immediate reply. And we can't defend a lead, and we can neither defend nor extend a lead. And there's your perfect example of it there. We were ahead all of 40 seconds before they just carve through us. We're playing with 2 DMs. We're using one of the fabled flat-back 6 formations from FM23. Obviously, Rotherham are out there with their flat-back 7, even more boring. But neither of them are particularly good at defending. I don't understand this game. O'Neill's done very well to win the ball back here in the wide area, so he plays it across to McCann, who finds Shaw on the edge of the area, and his effort is very high, very wide, very poor. That's why he's leaving. That's why we didn't fight harder to keep him at the club. On the topic of fighting to keep players at the club, by the way, we did bend over and take Jake O'Brien's medicine. He has got one of the biggest contracts at the club now, because most of the first team squad were also in a mood because he was in a mood. So we've had to bow to player power. It's not something I enjoyed having to do. But the moment we gave him his new contract, everyone else cheered up and the club atmosphere improved. And when you're in a relegation battle, sometimes you just have to take a hit like that. His salary has increased from about £3,000 a week to about £16,000 a week in a team that is conceding goals while he's in defence against one of the worst teams in the division. And we might still get relegated anyway. But yeah, I guess I kind of had to. The alternative was try and get rid of him, but the transfer window had closed and everyone was upset. This isn't going to plan at all. Maybe we put Swanrat back in his little box that he was in last episode, forget he exists until the summer, and get back to that diamond that we know is capable of beating this kind of team. And when I say maybe, I mean that's absolutely definitely what we're doing right now. Swanrat is the man who's going to be sacrificed. We'll go with Hudson and Ida up front, and O'Neill can go in there, and then we can bring on Aidan Steele to play midfield, who was brought in to play that exact role. We're going to go attacking. That's the last you're going to see of Bunyarit Swanrat until I learn to say his name, until the summer. Then we'll mess around with figuring out a tactic that fits him then. I.e., we're going to start training him to play right back immediately, and that's where he'll play long term, so we can carry on diamonding our faces off because we love a diamond. But in the meantime, we've just got to focus on not getting relegated, and at the moment, that plan isn't really working because we're now 3-1 down against a team we absolutely should not be losing against. And this puts us right back into the relegation mix, which is not where we want to be, because there's no guarantees that if we get relegated, I avoid the sack. I think we all probably agree that the squad is not far from being a comfortable mid-table championship squad. There just needs to be a few more tweaks to it. But if we end up getting relegated before I get the chance to apply those tweaks, I'm never going to see the likes of Hudson and Darlington, who's about to come on. I'm not going to see these guys blossom into the Premier League players they are going to become eventually. That'll make me very, very sad. Right, we're just going to do that one more change for now. We've still got 3 subs to make, but this has been terrible. This has been one of the worst performances during my reign here at Preston. You can see from the league table as well that the teams we were battling with, Peterborough and Hull, I think, are out of the problem area as well. Hull are just above us. Peterborough are up in like 17th now. All the other teams who we were competing with have kind of recovered and moved up the league, while we're still battling with a different group of teams now. Rotherham weren't in this relegation mix, I don't think, in the last episode. Or were they down in... They might have been down in 23rd. I know Cambridge were bottom because it's just what Cambridge do. They love being bottom of the league. Can we do a goal, please? At least make it interesting for the last few minutes. We drew 0-0 away against top of the table Everton, but now we concede against Rotherham 3. It makes no sense. We're such an inconsistent team. I guess this is the problem with bringing in so many young players. They're still learning to play together, and young players do have a habit of being inconsistent anyway. One man who is consistent, of course, is Adam Eder, who weighs in with another goal. Still 25 minutes remaining. We still have a chance of rescuing something from this game. It's with the nature of it being a relegation 6-pointer, even getting this back to a draw is pretty huge for us because it maintains that 4-point gap over Rotherham, and 4 points with 8 games to go in a relegation battle is a big gap. We're going to bring on Sean Maguire, not that one, which allows us to push Adam Eder a little bit further forward. I'm looking at what else we've got on the bench. I think we're going to bring on Owen Beck. Shall we bring on... It's either Ben Whiteman to knock the ball around nicely in midfield, or Diaby in the hopes that he scores a hat-trick. I think we probably have to change the midfield. We probably have to be sensible. Show is already half checked out of his time here at the club, so let's bring Whiteman on in midfield. I don't think Diaby's going to get a second hat-trick for us, is he? Story with the effort from long range. It's interesting to see that despite giving O'Brien all that money, he's still been the worst player on the pitch today. I am falling out with that guy all over again in the summer, and I think, yeah, we gave him the new contract in like February. I think we look to sell him this summer because I don't like being held to ransom. We've paid him off for now, but I won't forget that he held me to ransom and has been largely responsible for our drop in form because we started playing poorly when he upset the entire team by being a grumpy old goose. Right, we're trying to slot Eder in, can't get it to him. We've got 10 minutes left. We just need to grab an equaliser here. Whiteman plays the ball over the top, or tries to. It's intercepted by the Rotherham defender. And now they're coming at us again. We really need to just kick them in the knees, take the ball off them, get up the other end and stick it in the back of the net. It's a very simple plan. I've just kicked a can underneath my desk. I'm so upset. And O'Brien actually wins a header. What a beautiful novelty. Steele now playing the ball forward, looking for Eder. That's exactly how we have to play. Keep it basic. Eder is in, and Adam Eder has scored again. He is single-handedly trying to keep us in the championship because he knows full well he's a Premier League quality player who's potentially going to be stuck in League One next year if he doesn't save us on his own. Wonderful stuff. I mean, it's a lovely through ball from Whiteman. There has to be some credit to him as well. And Eder just takes it wide enough past the goalkeeper to cause him enough of a problem with the angle that he can't make the save. We're staying on attacking, so we'd still love to pick up the win. But you know what? From being 3-1 down, that draw is a big result. We still aren't winning games, but we've scored 3 goals, which we weren't doing in that pathetic cowards formation. We are going to be back to the diamond now. And importantly, we've still got that 4-point gap and the big goal difference gap. I'd like to think we're closing in on being safe. We're not there yet. We could do with winning a couple more matches, but it was important that we didn't lose that one. Well, we've got the Cardiff match at the moment, but Operation Great Rebuild 2 continues apace because we've just agreed the sale of Raphael Holzhauser to Wolfsberger for £2.1 million. So he is leaving the club, one of the many old men that I'd already earmarked we wanted rid of. He has been a player we've used a lot this season, but at 33 years old, for us to be able to get a couple of £1 million for him is huge. And we're immediately trying to reinvest that money because football manager things, we've got £800,000 sat there. And if we don't spend it, it'll just disappear. That will be next season's transfer budget. So before we get next season's transfer budget, we need to spend this one. It doesn't look like we're getting a transfer budget next season anyway, so it's probably less urgent than if we had a £1 million guaranteed budget for next year. But regardless, we're spending the money. We've got 3 players we want to bring in, totaling roughly what we've just sold him for, just slightly over, but we're putting a little bit of it on installments because the guy who we're putting on installments is worth the installments. But player number 1, Maxim Pascozzi, is a Newcastle centre-back who can also play right-back, but we'll bring him in to play centre-back. He's the O'Brien replacement. He's on loan at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment. He's previously been on loan at Ipswich and Millwall twice, so lots of championship experience, and he could just come straight in, slot into our defence. He's a full international with Estonia, so work permit won't be a problem. Hopefully we get him in for £245,000 on a nice low income, nice low salary. That's important. This guy, there is a question mark whether he'll get a work permit. He is a very talented chap, Facundo Kraspiski, who would just come straight in as the Holzhauser replacement as the attacking midfielder in the squad. He's nice and cheap because he's on the transfer list at Fulham, so we can pick him up for £160,000. He's been at Fulham for a few years since joining them for £4.3 million from his Argentinian previous club, but with 0 caps, not even a youth cap, and limited time on the pitch for Fulham, albeit he played 11 games in the Premier League last season, and he's done a season in the second tier in Germany. He might not get a work permit, but if he does, that's your Holzhauser replacement right there. He's on quite a lot of money, but he is better than what we've already got, so I don't mind paying a little bit extra for an upgrade, especially when there's bargains to be had. Dominic Sunjic, yes, we're paying a lot of money for him initially. He's going to be 400,000 up front, raising to a possible £2.4 million over the course of his contract, but he's very good. He's an 18-year-old striker, so he'd come in and become homegrown at club, which is less of an issue when you're in the Championship than when you're in the Champions League. But with him being already an under-19 international for Croatia, already nice and quick, 6 foot tall, decent finisher, decent in the air, all this at 18 years old, we'll take that very much. Thank you, lovely. And he's on almost no money salary-wise either, so I don't mind paying a little bit more in transfer fee. If we've got him, Hudson, Ida as striker options, we are starting to look like a team that could be comfortably mid-table, which is where we need to be. So fingers crossed we get all 3 of those in. Is that a clause we can sell? No, that's a clause we have to pay for. So we're not going to do that. And this is the team to take on Cardiff. And Guisa in goal again. A back 4 of Wilson is Brand, Lindsay, Diaby and Darlington. No room for O'Brien, the troublemaking rascal. Whiteman at the base of the midfield, McCann and the soon-to-be departing Holzhauser in midfield with O'Neill in behind Ida and Woodburn, who is now returned from injury and was playing quite well when we had him out on the wing. It would be a little bit harsh to take him out of the team entirely. I know before we started experimenting with wingers, we were playing Woodburn in all sorts of positions. He was even playing central midfield sometimes. So there's no guarantee that that's where he'll stay. He could easily drop into the Holzhauser position and we could bring Hudson on. Or Maguire could come on. But for now, I think we just bring Woodburn back in up there and see what he can do playing in his actual natural position as a striker, which is a role we've never actually used him in, I don't think, in the entire time I've been at the club. He's just been a bit of a utility man for me because of his ability to be able to play everywhere. Wilson as Brand then on the left-hand side, doing what he was signed to do, being the entire left-hand side of the pitch. He's not had much opportunity to do it lately. O'Neill gives it back to McCann. I would love an unexpected victory here against Cardiff. They are a team in the bottom half of the table, so it wouldn't be the biggest upset in history, but when we're struggling to get any kind of result, any win is a little bit of a surprise. And we would love one today. And Raphael Holzhauser, possibly with his goodbye goal for the club. He's going to be leaving in 8 games regardless. That's already arranged, but grabbing us a goal inside the first 5 minutes is a nice way to make yourself a hero on the way out. If he was 5 years younger, we wouldn't be selling him on. I do like him as a player. He's just too old. We've got to cash in now while we can. We're not the kind of money bags club that can just keep him around and let him run down his contract, get old and retire. there's £2 million on the table. We're buying a Croatian 18-year-old superstar with that money. I know what I want more. If you offer me an 18-year-old Croatian or a 33-year-old called Raphael, I always know which one I'm going to be going for. Wilson is brand, plays it forward to Woodburn. And Woodburn on this left-hand side. I mean, he's playing as a winger, even though we're supposed to be playing him up front. Whiteman trying to get something going in midfield. And Lindsay with a sloppy ball to McCann. Although, to be fair, I think that's McCann just kind of standing there and expecting it to end up on his toe rather than just taking a step forward to, you know, take control of the ball like a footballer. And what's going on with Rotherham? Rotherham, I think, are losing. Rotherham are drawing. So as it stands right now, that gap between us and Rotherham, if we manage to hold on to this lead, which is a big if, we don't do that ever. But if we do, we're 6 points clear of Rotherham with a huge goal difference advantage with just 7 games to go. It's getting closer and closer to looking like we might just about be able to snatch safety. It's not been at all convincing. They're messing around with the club morale. They're messing around with different tactics, trying to get the youngster in. None of it has been ideal, but at the moment, I'm feeling that we probably should be okay. Darlington has given the ball away. I was just about to sing his praises because he's been very good since arriving. And there is an example of it. Winning the ball back after correcting his own mistake. That kid is still only 17 years old. O'Neill from range, it's taken a big deflection, and that's unfortunate. But Wilson, his brand, is there. And Holzhauser from range clatters into the frame of the goal. And Eder is there to grab number 17 of the season for him because that's what he does. Adam Eder does football goals. I don't understand, how he ended up at Preston in the first place. He was released on a free transfer from Norwich at the end of last season. I can't believe there wasn't a bigger club in the Championship who went in for him. But after signing for us, I can't believe how poor he was before I came along. I don't know what the previous manager was doing with him, but he wasn't telling him to play as a centre forward and score goals, clearly. 2-0 at half-time. This is nosebleed territory. We're not used to this kind of thing at all. I'm having a lovely old time. And fingers, I mean, look at the XG, look at the match stats. We're not just winning, we are dominating. We are the best team on the pitch today. And that's a Cardiff team who are already safe. They're already comfortable mid-table for this season. This is how good we can be. We shouldn't have ever moved away from the diamond. The question now, of course, if the diamond is this important for us, what on earth do we do with our little wonder kid right winger who can't play in any other positions? Are we going to teach him to play right back? I know I've just swapped these around, but I'm swapping them back again. We're going to get Hudson on to play with Eder. We're not going to make too many changes. That's one thing I am learning. Now I've got 5 substitutions at my disposal. When I first arrived, I got a little bit carried away and started doing lots of substitutions. And it became very clear that we don't have the strength in depth to be able to make 5 changes and it not massively weaken the team. So I tried to limit the substitutions to when someone is playing really poorly or when someone is really shattered and not make substitutions that aren't needed anymore. Holzhauser from the penalty spot makes it 3-0. That is the cherry on top of a delicious cake that is a league win for Preston North End. What a time to be alive. Butter pies for everybody. The goalkeeper gets a hand to it, but it's not enough. And we are very good value for our 3-0 lead as well, if you look at the XG. Right, we now do have some tired little legs, so let's make some substitutions. Owen Beck for Wilson is brand is an easy one. Steele can come on for McCann in midfield. That's another easy one. And then I think we'll just leave everyone else as they are. I don't think we need to change the centre backs in this situation. Diaby and Lindsay have both had their turns playing out at fullback this year. We don't need to put them out there again, and they're both playing well enough to not need to come off. At centre back, 3-0. Didn't expect that, but I absolutely would have taken 4 points from this episode before it started because that gets us a huge leap closer to safety. Would you feast your eyes on that beautiful league table? We are 21st, but we're 5 points clear of the relegation zone with a huge goal difference advantage. Well, goal difference advantage on pretty much everybody in the bottom half of the table. We've had a couple of big wins this season, which has been very helpful. Right, we are now going to probably go most of the way through to the end of the season. I've got my eye on the Blackburn now. Hold on. Having spent some time in the north recently, I have learned it's not Blackburn. If you are a local, I might be about to make a fool of myself on the internet, but we have been practicing this on Twitch. Blackburn. Is that how the locals say it? I've got the Blackburn. All right. I've got that game earmarked as the game we come back, but obviously if we've in a position to secure safety before then, we'll probably come back and show you that instead or as well as. But that has been everything we wanted out of a Football Manager video today. Lovely old stuff. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.